Hi, I am Trixie. Now, as many of you know, this summer has been freakishly, ridiculously hot. And I should know, I am sitting here in an unventilated room, I'm just dabbing away here. But you are probably spending a lot of this summer just sitting at home with your air conditioning or maybe a little fan. And if you don't have either of those, what the hell is wrong with you? But I understand there's probably not a whole lot to do this summer, or maybe there is in your area, but you're kind of skeptical about whether or not you want to go out and do it, so you're chilling in the household, just trying to find ways to pass the time. And what is a great way to pass the time? Reading. So what I'm going to do today is show you some of my favorite books that shouldn't be too hard to find in the used bookstores. You know, books I have loved for years that really caught my interest. Now, admittedly, Trixie is not a big novel reader. It is something I am definitely working on, especially during this downtime, because there's so many novels I'd love to read, but they just can't keep my attention, you know? So, you know, for now, these are more like reference type books, just books to flip through about things I like, but I think you'll find them super awesome and I want to share them with you. Now, I know you can make it easier and look on Amazon or eBay or something like that, but if your used bookstore is open and you get a chance to go browse, please support them, that's all I ask. Now, let me put on my book reading specs and we will get down to it. First off, if you're a person like me who loves urban legends and spooky stuff and paranormal stuff, you are gonna love this series. It is called Weird US. Now, they got them for all different states. Obviously, I'm in Pennsylvania, so I got the Pennsylvania one. But what these books do is they go through local lore, the urban legends, they talk about mysterious places like roads where no one knows what's going on, and like haunted hot spots. Let me give you an example. Like, we have a place in Pittsburgh called Blue Mist Road. It's this long, creepy, abandoned road. And I was paging through this book, and look what I found. They actually have a chapter about Blue Mist Road. That's so cool. So I could really relate to a lot of stuff in this book, right? But I've checked out the other states too, and their books are just as awesome. So like I said, if you like the spooky stuff, if you like the mysteries, you gotta check out the Weird US series. Now, this one I can almost guarantee you've seen a used copy of because it is so easy to find, mainly because it's out of date now, but I loved the hell out of this book growing up. I love it today. I'm talking about Saturday Night Live, the first 20 years. Now, this was the book that they put out for the 20th anniversary, and it is jam-packed if you love this show. Guides to the favorite characters, and guides to like all the commercial parodies over the years, and the best weekend update, jokes, and scripts of sketches. Oh, I just love this book so much. I discovered this in my local library when I was just discovering SNL, and it really opened my eyes to the history of this show. I strongly recommend it, and like I said, because this is like, what, 25 years out of date now, you can find this real cheap and easy. I did, so check this one out. Oh look, they got Mr. Bill. Look, there's a whole section about Mr. Bill. You know, I like Mr. Bill. This, you know, it's very one note, isn't it? Because I got a video with all the Mr. Bill skits, and it's like, yeah, he gets hurt and goes, oh no, and but you know, it's funny. It's funny sometimes. It's funny. This one is a definite, like, oh my god, why does this even exist? But I am so glad it does, because I love finding weird stuff like this. So, you remember that Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band movie that had the Bee Gees and Peter Frampton and it sucked? They did a movie novel of it. And I know what you might be thinking if you saw the movie, how did they make a novel out of that? The characters never even talk. You know what they actually do in this? They speak. There's dialogue. And they try to like flesh out the plot a little bit. They try to make it make a little more sense. You know, some characters like Marvin Sunk and Maxwell Edison actually get backstories. The best part about this, though, like unintentionally so, is the last chapter. The last chapter is the living definition of filler. It has no reason to exist, but I'll let you discover that for yourself. Yeah, this is definitely an oddity item, but I always did kind of like that movie. I mean, I get it, it's terrible, but it's kind of lovable in an odd sort of way, and so am I, so that's okay. Now, I'm a gal who loves James Bond. Well, okay, Daniel Craig not so much, but that's okay, because this next book doesn't even go that far. This has been a mainstay of my shelf since I was a kid. This is Stephen J. Rubin's Complete James Bond Encyclopedia. Oh my gosh, now this version goes up to Die Another Day, and it goes into every little intricate detail about the movies you could possibly think of. It's insane. Now what I especially like about this is it even goes into like the unofficials, you know, the other Casino Royales and Never Say Never Again. But oh my gosh, you will learn so much about those movies you didn't even know was there to learn. I love this book. Now, he does give the movies a star rating as well, and Moonraker got 1 star. 1 star. You know what? That is a shame. You know what? Screw that. I love Moonraker, and I don't care who knows it. James Bond should be in space. Now, speaking of movie tie-ins, this is one of the coolest ones I have ever come across. Now, I'm a huge fan of This Is Spinal Tap, and I especially love the intricate backstory they wrote for the band, right? You know, none of it happened, but there's so many little details that they just fleshed out for that band, and a lot of them can be found in this book. Now, this book is called Inside Spinal Tap by Peter Occhiogrosso, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but this came out to tie in when the movie came out. There is an updated version as well that goes up to the mid-90s album Break Like the Wind. It has a different cover as well. But what this is a collection of fictitious magazine articles from the history of the band, and it goes into like the discography. It has some fan letters in it. It has interviews with the band. Oh my gosh, it fleshes them out so much. It really makes them feel real. Like, look at this. It even like lists the albums and the singles and all kinds of stuff that doesn't even exist. Oh, Spinal Tap is just genius. If you love that movie, you need to find this book. I don't think it was that expensive. I think I found it for only a few bucks too. You need to check this out. Finally, I'll preface this one by saying I have always loved the Beatles. Ever since I was a kid, I have collected the Beatles. I also love making discographies of bands that I like. You know, I like cataloging all the music, keeping track of everything that's out there because I'm real completist. And this book does a wonderful job of that for the Beatles. This is called All Together Now, and it's by Harry Castleman and Walter J. I think it's Podrazik, something like that. Here, I'll hold it up there. But what this is a very detailed discography of the Beatles. It catalogs all their releases, the albums, the singles, what songs are on them. And, you know, the one bad thing about this is, as much as I love this book, it only goes up to 1975, so it is very out of date, but they did put out other volumes. This was volume 2. This was called The Beatles Again, builds on it a little bit more, and then they put out this big whopping volume here called The End of the Beatles. This was the third and final volume. Now, you might be thinking, but Trixie, I like collecting the black market stuff. Another author named Charles Reinhardt put out a book that follows the exact same format as those ones. But this one is called You Can't Do That. And see, this one is a very similar kind of book. It catalogs all the releases just like the other ones do, but this one's about vinyl bootlegs. So this one is also worth checking out if you like the first 3. But when I was a kid and I was trying to collect all the Beatles stuff that was out there, I just wanted everything possible. These books I must have gotten out of my local library more than anything else in the world, I swear. Like, they actually pulled their copy of All Together Now out of circulation at one point because it is so out of date, and I'm like, why don't you just give it to me? Why don't, you know, it was only fair. Of course they didn't, but even though they're old and outdated, they are the most complete look at the vinyl era of the Beatles you'll ever see. So if you're a big Beatles collector like I am, you owe it to yourself to track down All Together Now, The Beatles Again, The End of the Beatles, and if you like the vinyl bootlegs, the old school 70s bootlegs, You Can't Do That. All awesome, awesome, awesome books. Well, hopefully I, Trixie, have piqued your curiosity just a little bit and gave you some ideas for books you're gonna hunt down in the near future. Until then, stay cool, which I'm clearly not. Oh my god, I'm eating my own sweat here. Whew. Oh boy. But I want you to stay cool. I am Trixie, and you lovely people have a good day.